Welcome to Vision ProNotes. I'm Marty Gensius, a faculty member at a Midwest University, podcaster, and an Apple product fan. Co-host of Vision Profiles, along with Eric Bolden, Dave Ginsberg, and Daniel Burkholder. We're doing ProNotes again, regular supplements, generally coming out on Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning, talking about what the immediate news around Vision Pro is. And that will set you up for our Monday night show, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Time, streams live on YouTube. But of course, you can find it at youtube.com/@visionprofiles. That's our channel. You can see the live stream, or you can go back and watch the video as the video comes across. You can also catch the audio because we just do it as a podcast also. All the notes, all of the links you will find in the show notes for both the video portion and also the podcast version. So as we talk about things in this Pro Note, you'll be able to connect with the links. And if you're watching the live stream, you'll be able to see the links. So what's the news today? I guess you could say it's Vision Pro friendly news. It's this whole idea of AppleCare One. And AppleCare One launches a single plan to cover multiple Apple devices. We first heard about this yesterday and talked about it on the Old Mac Gang. And my guess is we'll talk about it on In Touch with iOS. The plan was mentioned yesterday and announced, or maybe it was 2 days ago, announced that it was going to happen today with a little bit of lack of clarity about what was really going to happen with this process and how it was going to come about. The whole idea is you can select AppleCare One for $19.99 a month, and it'll cover up to 3 devices. If you want to add additional devices, you can do that at $5.99 a month for the device. So, but we didn't know how that was going to play out on the site. We didn't have any explanation of what it was going to look like. And so this morning I jumped in early to look for it because, Apple Vision Pro, its AppleCare is $25 a month. And if I can put Apple Vision Pro, I'm saving $5 a month. By going with the AppleCare One version of it. Now, you also get some benefits from annual plans when you pay upfront annually, and so you have to figure out, am I going to do the annual plan? Am I going to go monthly? What's the best way for me to manage this? And what's the advantages that I'm going to get financially off of it? But interesting article. It does cover, as I found out this morning, it does cover Apple Vision Pro. So you put that into the $19 mix, you're already saving $5. Then what I did was look at other devices in which I had coverage at a monthly or even an annual basis to look at what the cost per month was, and then selected what I thought were the most expensive, costly coverage devices and put them in to complete my 3 that were going to be covered at $19.99 a month. Then what I needed to do was go back in and figure out what other devices that I have that it would be beneficial for me to take the $5.99 a month for the extra added device versus the cost of what the annual or the monthly subscription is for the device standalone. And do I have that device covered? Well, I have a lot of devices. This is kind of the thing I enjoy doing, is buying new devices. So in the long run, what I did was go through the process of identifying the costs for each of the devices as I have them. They said, and I started reading, that people were getting refunds on their annual contracts. They were coming back in terms of credit to be used in the Apple Store. But that annual contract you spent was not lost. They would figure out what was left in it and send it back to you if you switch the device over to AppleCare One. So these were the devices that I had. I'm going to read off the ones that I actually wound up putting on AppleCare One. Um, and some of them were a break even. So some of them were $5.99 a month, but I was paying separate from Apple Care One, but I decided to put them all under Apple Care One. So probably the big one, as I mentioned, Vision Pro at $25 per month. The iPhone 16e was $9.99 a month. The 16 Pro Max was $13.99 a month. I have both of those under the coverage now. I put in the Mac Studio M3 that I have, 2024 M3 Mac Studio was $5.99 a month, but I thought, let's just have it all under Apple One. The MacBook Air that I have with Apple Care was $6.99 a month. I added it then at $5.99 a month. That's the 13-inch MacBook Air M4. The 13-inch iPad Pro M4 was $8.49 a month in terms of its coverage, and I put that in for $5.99 a month. The iPad Air was 13-inch was $4.99. And the Apple Watch Ultra, as I mentioned, was $5.99 per month, and that kind of became a wash in terms of the price of that. But I did put it under Apple Care. So when I looked at it, if I just added those prices up without having them under Apple Care, I was paying around 89, 90 bucks a month for just Apple Care Plus coverage. And when I put it under Apple Care One, looking at the $19.99 that I was paying for 3 devices and then the $5.99 I was paying for other devices, the total cost under AppleCare One was about 53, 54 bucks a month. So the difference between that is a good $36 a month that I'd be saving keeping it under AppleCare One versus keeping it under separate accounts. Now, there are some things that I still have that are under just separate contracts because they're like $3.99 a month or $2.99 a month for the device. And I'm not going to switch them in and then be charged $5.99 for the device to fall in under one place. So, and then there's a remarkable amount of devices that I have that have been around for a while and either were not covered as a part of, or could not be covered as part of Apple One, or I just felt if something goes wrong with these things, I'm not going to do coverage. Currently, I have my iPad mini on coverage, and I thought about bringing that in. That would have been probably a $4.99 a month charge or even less. And I thought, no, I'm just going, the coverage drops off on it. It's done. Um, there's no sense in keeping it alive through extra care and coverage. So you have to make those kind of decisions when you're making a decision to move things over to AppleCare One. Tell you, Apple Pro users, if you've got an Apple Vision Pro, um, do it. And if you have an Apple Vision Pro and other products, it just adds to the amount of value you're going to get from it. So I'm looking at about $36 a month cost savings. And then I turn around, and this scared me a little bit because I was going through my junk mail, and I found it in my junk mail. And I thought, is this for real? Is this not for real? It was the refund for the various contracts that I was on. And I had a refund for 72 bucks, a refund for 186 bucks, and a refund for 140 bucks from different annual contracts that I had done that I broke because I was moving them into Apple One. That totals up to about $399, $398 in redemption funds that I got back. So yeah, it means I'm going to be spending it on this. Now, the other thing that I thought was really kind of interesting, I first added Apple Vision Pro on my Mac, accessing my account through my Mac. When I got to it with to the point where I wanted to add other devices, it was really kind of weird in terms of other devices and how to add them. I finally, and I have a link here that talks about add or remove device from your Apple One, Apple Care One plan. And this comes from Apple support. And I tell you to take a look at this link because it has lots of short pull down menus that will take you to a long, throughout this long web page about how to add things, how to remove things from using different devices. And frankly, I jumped to my phone and was able to find all of my devices that I had on my phone, and it was much easier to add them into AppleCare One. That was the cool part about it. The other cool part about it was I could go in and see that I can easily remove those. So when I sell or return or trade in a particular device that I have under the AppleCare One plan, it's easy for me to take it out of the plan. And frankly, that might be a benefit to Apple because if you've ever had to stop coverage in the middle of an annual contract, ask for redemption, there's a whole lot of stuff that you have to do on the phone, sometimes with Apple people to get that straightened out. And then just if you're not doing that, there's still a lot that you have to do on the web. This makes it real easy, or it appears to be real easy to drop these items out of your AppleCare One as you sell them or pass them on or give them to somebody else or whatever you do with them. I think that is kind of a staffing and person power advantage to Apple having the system set up this way. Obviously, the advantage to Apple One is for folks who have lots of devices. I wish there were, and there have been some calls for people saying, just put a calculator on the website so we can figure out what the advantages of doing this or doing that. And maybe somebody will come up with that process. I had to kind of do it all by hand and by looking up costs in order to figure out what was the best way to go with it for me. But I think this, in the long run, it rewards people who have lots of devices by reducing the costs in AppleCare. I think it brings people in who have devices who haven't thought about AppleCare, but then they think about it as a one price every month to cover all their products. I think it's a win-win for Apple and also for the consumer. So that's the pro note for today. Take a look at AppleCare One and look what you can do with it with your Vision Pro and other devices that you have. Hey, thanks for listening to this. Thanks for being part of this Vision Profiles universe that we've created. Thanks for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join an episode, email us at thepodtalknetwork@gmail.com. Learn more about Vision Profiles. Again, Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're streaming live for the show for that week. And you can find out more about other things that we do at thepodtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.